Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining our September release webinar. We have a new face today joining me. Dee and Andy are at the MSP Summit in Orlando. So today it's Rich, Dean, and myself to cover the release webinar today. As always, we will run through a number of different things within the webinar, and then we'll take Q&A at the end. Please use the Q&A module. This is my first time running the slides and attempting to follow the Q&A and the chat. So really excited all of you are here, and please pop in any questions that you might have throughout, and we'll make sure to get to them at the end. So with that, we're going to get started. We have a lot of really exciting things to chat about today and to share. And so thank you all very much for joining. So first, we're going to kick off with a number of new things that were released. And up first, we have archive assets. And with this, we have a demo today. Hopefully this screen sharing worked properly. So that includes our sharing sound. So we have a demo from one of our product managers on archive assets.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, I'm excited to share with you an overview of our recent archive assets release. Do you ever feel like your assets list is a bit cluttered? As your business grows, so does the number of devices you manage, and keeping track of decommissioned machines can make your reports inaccurate and your day-to-day workflow more difficult. That's why we're excited to introduce archive assets to Syncro. This new feature is designed to help you maintain a clean, accurate, and organized asset list without ever losing important historical data. The process is incredibly simple. Let's say we have a device that's no longer in service. Instead of deleting it and losing your device history, or leaving it to clutter your list and risk reporting or billing errors, you can now archive it. On the Asset Detail page, just go to the Actions menu and select Archive. You can also initiate this as a bulk action directly from the Assets and RMM page. Once selected, you'll see a quick confirmation modal. For Syncro devices, this action will also trigger the agent to uninstall the next time the device checks in. Once you confirm, the asset is immediately removed from your active list, giving you a cleaner, more focused view of what's currently in use. So where does it go? You can find all of your archived assets in their new dedicated view. Just click the View dropdown at the top of the Assets and RMM page and select Archived Assets. Here, all of the original data, system info, custom fields, and ticket history is still fully intact for your records and for compliance. Similarly, any chat sessions or RMM alerts related to the archived asset will now denote this and link back to the archived asset. And, if needed, you can easily bring an asset back. To re-enable a device, just select Re-enable from the Actions menu. A quick modal will appear to set expectations. Notably, that this will not automatically reinstall the Syncro agent on the device. This makes it easy to restore a device if a client decides to bring a machine back into use. It's also worth noting that the existing behavior of reinstalling the Syncro agent on a device will automatically re-enable the archived asset. We also provide the ability to merge archived assets into new active assets if you need to combine their history. For best practices, you may consider using this feature to clean up your lists over a recurring interval that makes sense for you and your business, be it monthly, quarterly, or simply on an as-needed basis as you process your decommissioned machines. Also, you might find it useful to introduce a preliminary offboarding workflow before finally archiving the asset. For example, you could move assets to a dedicated policy folder that you don't have recurring invoices associated with, run a series of offboarding scripts before finally archiving the asset at a later date. And remember, you can view archived assets in the Asset Audit and Asset Activity Audit reports for a complete history. By moving your decommissioned devices to the archive, you'll improve the accuracy of your reporting and simplify your daily operations, all without losing valuable data. With archive assets, you get a powerful tool to streamline your asset management. It's clean, efficient, and ensures you always have a single, accurate source of truth for your device fleet. To learn more, check out our full documentation, and thanks for watching.
Awesome. That was a demo from Lindsay, our product manager that does a bunch of work on the RMM. His team ran all of the archive assets. So we're really excited. The feedback we've gotten so far on archive assets has been incredibly positive, with a lot of people saying, well, this is kind of boring. It just does what I wanted it to. So we've gotten a lot of feedback, and I know there's some questions. So really looking forward to see us continuing to build on this. The next thing that we released is co-managed email domains. So for those of you that want more personalization for your co-managed users that you support, you now can have co-managed different domains per organization. So rather than having all of the emails coming from your main MSP, if you wanted to specify for a specific customer organization, you can now do that. This was a really successful early access. We got a lot of great feedback on it. So anyone that's using any of these, please feel free, especially if you have any co-managed accounts. More than happy, you can set it up. Again, check out our documentation on exactly how you want to do that there. And then finally, we released our ticket timer enhancement. This is something we know we've been working on for a while. Thank you to everyone who provided really great feedback on this. This was a longer early access, and we made sure to work through all of the kinks. So appreciate everyone's help and kind of moving everything forward. We redid our labor log and our ticket timer enhancement to make things a lot easier and reduce clicks. This has been rolled out to everyone globally. And you'll also see that we're meeting with a bunch of partners to try to improve the manual time entry. That was some of the feedback that we've heard right after release. And so we're gonna escalate and work on some of that to make sure that we can fix the multiple clicks on the multiple timer entry. So again, we've heard a lot of great feedback on this. This is released for everyone. And then going forward, as we have every other month, we've had a ton of quality of life improvements here. One of the most notable ones that I wanted to call out that I'm really excited about, because if you see my name, it's extremely long, is the additional CCs within a ticket. So we've really improved the UX for additional CCs. Now it is a drop down when you go in to add an additional CC, so you can just click and add them, and then you'll see that they populate below the input box so that you can really easily remove them or see the users that are added without scrolling. We also added a number of different things on line breaks in the asset detail notes to make sure that that's cleaner and easier to read. And then we fixed a bunch of issues, like the pinned ticket views were not displaying in the correct order, and kind of updating a lot of things. We're continuing this quality of life track. You'll continue to see a lot of improvements come in this area. Please continue submitting feedback within the product. We take a lot of those feedback items and bring them into that list to make sure that we're improving the product every single day with what is most important to all of you. And now we have we have a new thing that is in early access. We released co-managed support permissions. And co-managed support, this is a big thing that people have been asking for, a big desire from all of you that have a lot of co-managed users that want to do things around assets and scripting and improving, being able to run scripts. So in early access, you can sign up in the roadmap, and I think we'll put the link directly in the chat here, is being able to, we've expanded the number of permissions that you can give your co-managed users by a lot. You can give them access to all of the different reports and specific reports that they can actually have view on. They can now run scripts, and they can do a bunch of extra things with assets. We're going to continue to make improvements on the co-managed permissions, but now you don't have to give those users access to your entire Syncro account. You can still limit them based on the customer that they need, and you can give them more access. And then on the marketplace front, we released our integration with ThreatDown. This was something that had been in flight. So we have provisioning, any migration if you have ThreatDown today, and universal billing has been released. I'm not going to do this as justice as Andy would have been so excited about, but I know he's He's down in Orlando having a great time at the MSP Summit. So we are also going to be working on deployment of ThreatDown later in the year through asset policies and being able to that. But if you have it today, you can set up universal billing, you can provision ThreatDown. So please feel free to check it out. And then up next is Iron Scales. You'll be able to provision and bring everything in through Syncro, and you'll have universal billing support. So we're really excited about these new vendors that you can link directly into your Syncro platform. And universal billing has been such an important part for all of you to be able to bill your customers. We've had a ton of people say how they've actually found additional money and charges that they should have been charging their customers for with the universal billing module. And so in progress today is Acronis. And so you'll see the rest of the vendors that we have in the marketplace come up through universal billing. So we're really excited about the continued add on the universal billing front. If you haven't set up universal billing today, highly recommend you go in and set up any of the vendors that you currently have, and looking forward to seeing all the ones in the future. All right, and now I'm going to turn it over to Rich. I'm sure with what a lot of you have been waiting for us to talk about. So Rich is going to kick us off to talk about backup.
Yeah, thank you, Kristen. I'm sure I will be a poor substitute for Dee. I know I'm a poor substitute for Andy in most things. So I'll give him my best shot and see if we can answer everybody's questions today and reassure them that we're delivering to them what they have asked for and I think what they're hoping for. So I'm super excited. The whole team is very excited. We've been working very hard night and day to officially introduce Syncro Cloud Backup, your last line of defense for Microsoft 365 and Entra ID. We opened up early access early this week, and the feedback has been fantastic as partners have begun to actually test this in the real world. So we're getting some real feedback and real experiences. Looking ahead, general availability is tentatively set for October 1st. That is when you'll be able to enable cloud backup directly from the Syncro marketplace. So on October 1st, go to the marketplace. That's where you're going to find Syncro Cloud Backup. Today, I'm going to walk through what makes this different, why MSPs have been asking us for this, and how it creates new opportunities within Syncro itself. Now, nearly half of organizations have turned to a third-party backup solution, and that's for a good reason. Microsoft provides native protections, but they truly aren't backups, as we all know. They have strict time limits, coverage gaps, and most importantly, they keep all the data inside the same tenant boundary. And that means if your tenant is compromised or down, that means your backups are unavailable. Syncro Cloud Backup solves this by storing a separate copy of your Microsoft 365 and Entra ID data outside of that tenant, inside a secure Azure backup storage. It's automatic, it's unlimited, and it gives you fast, reliable restores when you need them most, covering all the workloads that are most important from you. On the Microsoft 365, everything from Exchange mailboxes down to Planner, and on the Entra ID side, everything from users to policies like conditional access and Intune. And because it's built directly inside of Syncro, you can provision customers, you can manage those backups, you can monitor status, and most importantly, you can bill automatically, all from the same platform. It's the last line of defense against ransomware, accidental deletions, malicious insiders. So for clients, it delivers confidence. That's our goal. And for you, it eliminates another vendor to manage, which is very important. And it creates new margin opportunities, we hope, seamlessly from Syncro itself. So when you compare Syncro Cloud Back to other tools in the market, I think the difference is clear. Many solutions rely on separate integrations, which can create extra steps, added costs, gaps in coverage, confusion, just general unusability. With Syncro Cloud Backup, everything is built into the platform. You get Microsoft 365 and Entra ID all in one package. included with automated billing to capture every bit of revenue and unlimited storage with transparent pricing, which we're going to get to. So no hidden fees, no usage-based prices, just simple, predictable solution designed to fit the way MSPs work today. And here's the best part. Pricing is very, very simple as we try to keep things simple here. Syncro Cloud Backup is $1.90 per user per month for our trusted partners. That's it. No fees, no hidden fees, no storage tiers, no complicated usage models to figure out every month. Unlimited storage is included, and that's true. Unlimited storage. You can add it to you can add it to any Syncro plan. So that means if you're in Core or whether you're on Teams, you can add Syncro Cloud Backup. Plus, we've made it easy. Once we go GA, you'll be able to easily trial it for 14 days to see the real value. And when we go general availability in October, you'll find that Syncro Backup, again, is right inside Syncro Marketplace, making it easy and quick and seamless to enable any customer. And I hope that answers at least the basic questions for Syncro Cloud Backup. I see the thing.
There's a lot of questions
I
that we're
see
gonna
already.
issue with Syncro
Yeah,
Cloud
I already
Backup.
see it
There's a
going
bunch.
bloop, 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 bloop. We will get to those questions. I'm sure some of them will be very helpful for everyone to hear. But before we do that, as we always do, or as I should say, as Dee generally does, she always likes to go over the roadmap so that everybody understands what to expect, really. So a lot of this is really her words, so I'll give her credit for all of this. So we have expanded the public roadmap to give you more transparency into what is on the horizon, but also what we're currently working on. So the new roadmap makes it easy to see the stage of each initiative. You can see now what's in development, and this means currently what engineering and product management and marketing and everybody is working on right now to actively get this to you. The next phase is in design. This means anything that we're finalizing those details on and those decisions on. We have committed to this particular capability, and now we're just finalizing those pieces and maybe put it in front of some people to see what their thoughts are. And then finally, there's anything that's in early planning where we're gathering input, getting on calls with everybody, shaping how to actually solve these problems with all the experts that we deal with. So let's do a quick review, but remember to bookmark syncromsp.com/roadmap to stay up to date and find the latest release notes. Some of these items that we're going to quickly run through may have been covered on what Kristen has already covered. I think some of the things in early access, like co-management, is in early access right now. So as far as quality of life improvements, we're always focusing on dedicating the time that is needed and the resources that are needed to eliminate those time stealing activities so your teams can really work more efficiently and with hopefully greater satisfaction. So we have dedicated, you'll see in development and in the next phase, more time on quality of life because we understand how important it is. In early access, we have co-manage where we're providing more granular permissions controls, giving each role within the organization more secure access to only the capabilities they need. App updates. Apps are really the lifeblood of productivity for an end user. So if they're not current, devices are really vulnerable. Users may be missing key new features. So that's why we're expanding support for third-party app updates. Then we have mobile worksheets. Ticket worksheets are one of the, I think, our customers' favorite features. And now it's going to come to mobile. So techs that are on the go have the information they need wherever they are. Linux, of course, is a business critical system and it deserves the same monitoring and care as Windows or any other device or operating system. So we're expanding Linux monitoring and management over the next several quarters. And then also Acronis. So for those of you relying currently on Acronis XDR, we're making billings more simple and bringing it to universal billing for seamless and easy management. Again, dedicating the time that is needed, resources that are needed for those quality of life updates. In addition, we are invoicing, licensing Microsoft users. We know that that can be very complicated, very error prone. So we're adding enhancements to simplify invoicing and ensure accurate billing for Entra ID licenses. I know that's it's very desired for most of our customers that have already integrated Entra ID into Syncro on the Teams plan. So this would, again, it would apply to the Teams plan. The same would be true for our next feature, which is the Microsoft 365 baseline expansion. We've had a lot of great feedback, a lot of uptake on this particular feature. Most of our customers on team plans are currently using baselines to monitor their security posture, and we're going to continue to expand the baseline best practices, giving you stronger visibility, monitoring, and control. Next, mobile ticket filtering. Again, techs that on the go often struggle today to quickly find and prioritize the right tickets. So we're adding filtering options to the mobile so they can work efficiently wherever they are. Next, we're adding Stripe ACH support. I know this will come to applause by many people. Credit cards aren't always the preferred method, but sometimes they are. We're adding ACH support through Stripe to give your clients another secure and convenient way to pay. Iron Scale integration, which Kristen went over earlier. So those that really are looking for, email is still the number one attack vector, especially for spoofing and phishing exercises. So it's a major risk. So we're bringing Iron Scale's email protection solutions into the into the Syncro marketplace, fully integrated in the universal billing. And then finally, phase 2 of our Linux expansion. So we're going to continue to expand monitoring and management by adding, including alerting, scripting, and remote access to those capabilities. So these are the things that we're pondering right now. These are the things that we're actively spending cycles on to figure out exactly what fits, what is the right solution, and what is the right size, and what brings the most value to our customers, and how can we fit it into our expansive roadmap. So one of the things our teams are working on is project management. We know today's projects often get buried inside tickets, so it makes it harder to track progress separately. So we're building project tools so you can manage deadlines and deliverables without interfering with your ticket metrics. Next, we're setting up parent, child, and ticket enhancements. So we're setting up, or we know that setting up complex tickets with multiple dependencies takes too much manual effort. We understand that. It's loud and clear. We'll introduce templates so you can create parent tickets with assigned child tickets in just a few clicks. Next up is the easy app uninstall. So removing unwanted software from endpoints can be very time consuming and very inconsistent if you don't have the right tools in place. So we're adding one-click remote uninstall so you can handle it safely and efficiently. Next up is product bundles. So invoicing often requires extra work, we know, to group services, ensure billing accuracy, etc. So we're improving bundle management, so making packaging services easier, invoicing more clear, and billing more consistent. Next up is the script change logs. Right now, it can be difficult to trace which scripts have run and what's changed, and it's very important that that we have that compliance trail. So we're going to provide change logs and audit trails so troubleshooting and compliance can be much more straightforward. Next up is reporting enhancements. So I think I saw a comment earlier in the beginning of the webinar about reporting, so you'll be happy to hear that we are very actively right now scoping out how to improve this area. We know that existing dashboards don't always give clear and flexible insights. So we're going to redesign reports, make it more actionable, more flexible for the data you need. So, and then the last two items, chat enhancement. So we know that chats can drop, they can lag. It frustrates both you and the end user. So we're going to improve reliability and usability around here so issues can be resolved in real time without interruption, because there's nothing like interruption when you're trying to assist an end user. And then finally, Mac agent enhancement. Mac devices need the same stability and background tooling support as Windows. And we know that can be very inconvenient and inconsistent. So we're enhancing the Mac agent for better stability and smoother access. At least that is our goal and our desire. I will attribute this to Dee and kind of give it to her. I'll say this is her quote, or this is her message from her to all of you out there. She wanted to thank everyone for your partnership and trust in us. She hopes that you see this roadmap reflects what you have shared with us. We will continue to listen to you in all of our channels, whether that's in product support, community surveys, and phone calls. We are also planning another survey for our Syncro community to share your feedback on what matters the most. So from Kristen and myself, Richard, and from Dee, we will all want to thank you very much and appreciate your time and your partnership.
Yes, we read every single bit of feedback that comes in, the questions in the webinar, all of the chat. It's all incredibly helpful as we're building this. And then the final thing that I wanted to plug before we go into Q&A is our Power Hour. We have our Power Hour, our next Power Hour on October 3rd. So Lindsay, who just gave the demo on archive assets, is doing the Power Hour on ticket views, tags, and automations. We also have a partner that is joining to show how they use our tags and a number of automation to build all of their different ticket boards and how they're looking at their metrics. We'd love for any of you to join. The last Power Hours have been fantastic. I have learned things from a number of them, and they've just been really, really useful. And then you can also check out the recording. Thanks to, we put it in the chat there, the link, the automation tips and tricks. You can also check that out. And come on over, join us in the community. There's been a ton of conversation around cloud backup, around any of the different projects that we have going on. Again, we read all of those as well. The feedback comes in and joins all of our roadmap to make sure that we're working on the most important things. So whether you use the feedback within the product to send us stuff, chatting in the community, we're all here to support you, and we thank you very much for your partnership. So with that, we are going to go over into Q&A. There's a lot of questions, so Rich, I don't know if you had a second to read. I have a couple
I'm trying to
already
go
on my
through them
list.
now.
Okay, I'll take a couple that were at the top, and then we'll pull a ton of the backup ones, which I know a lot of them have been answered. So one of the first questions was around EU data centers. We know we have the UK, we have, the US, Canada, UK, and Australia. We will be adding the EU. We don't have that today, but it's on the roadmap, and we'll add it and get it out for all of you that are in the EU and have some GDPR or specific compliance. If you have a specific location that you need to have your data stored, please reach out to us. Again, send feedback, put it in the chat here. Would love to hear as we consider where in the EU to store our data. And then the other question, there was a question around, is there a timeline around Linux? I want to use it as my workstation, but I need to ensure it has an RMM. So this is something that we're actively working on. We are making good progress. I wish I had a specific timeline that I could share with you, but I expect this to be before the end of the year with the Linux agent. So we'll get that out in early access as soon as we possibly can, Aaron. And as soon as that goes into early access, please feel free to sign up, and then you can test it out with your workstation as you go forward. And then I know Rich touched on the additional payment processor sorry about WorldPay giving more fees. That was a question that came in saying they're adding even more fees. So we are working on Stripe ACH. We will see that hopefully coming before the end of the year is our goal, but some of these things take time, especially with integrations with big partners like this, and this is something we want to get 100% right. So we're spending a lot of time to make sure that design is really, really good.
Chris Fox asked about shared mailboxes, why we're charging full price for them. Again, I think we're looking for feedback, right? So this is MVP. We're currently charging for all user mailboxes or any type of mailbox. So if there is feedback from there, I see you saying drop suite. I'm not sure that that is true, but I'll take your word for it. And then you also asked about NFR licenses. I'm not sure what NFR licenses are, to be honest. I don't know if you do.
NFR is not for resale,
Okay,
not for resale licenses. We're having a lot of discussions. If you want to reach out, Chris, we're happy to have some conversations around any of the ways that we can help you deploy.
absolutely.
That's for you.
There was a question about SharePoint sites, whether it was included in the price. Yes, it is. So again, um, we can share out the link to the product page and the documentation as well, where it fully outlines all of the workloads that we cover. But it covers everything from again, from your mailboxes all the way through Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, Planner, and Teams, including Teams chats and files.
All right, there's a lot of chatter about shared mailboxes. We are going to take that and make sure that internally we have a clear understanding of the pieces of what is being charged. We know that licensed users are charged. SharePoint is not, and we will double check on shared mailboxes and exactly how those pieces are charged and make sure that's really, really clear because sounds like there's a little bit of confusion. So we will take that exactly as we go.
Regarding archive mailboxes, I'm going to have to get back to you. I'm going to check here in 2 seconds. I think the answer is yes, but I have to double check.
Is Syncro Backup built from the ground up, or have you partnered with another vendor to leverage their backend for this product offering? We built this from the ground up. This is something we've been working on. We have been in very close partnership with Microsoft in a number of different areas, as you've seen with our baselines and all of our Entra ID actions. And so we built this from the ground up to make sure that we could bring you a really deeply integrated solution that it fits directly inside the Syncro interface. You'll notice we didn't have any screenshots, I think, here in the webinar, but for anyone in early access and as we share in the Doc Center, you'll see that you don't ever pop out into another platform. You are directly in the Syncro interface to do all of the actions. It's on your same tenant management page where you can view your tenant and all of your Microsoft integration there. And then a question from Bill around, will you provide us the ability to back up a client's Entra ID environment without backing up any of the other Microsoft 365 products? That's a great question. We have that granularly. You can choose what you want to back up as when you go to back up your solution. I'll need to come back and do some understanding on pricing there, but you can choose if you want to back up Entra ID or not, and what users, granular selection of users or groups of users, specifically to control exactly who you want to back up. You can have it automatically add new users that get added to your Microsoft tenant or not, depending on what works best for your business.
Craig has a question about retention settings. I can tell you, Craig, that currently for MVP, we don't have any because it is unlimited. So retention wasn't set as a priority for MVP, but it is in the roadmap to begin to allow you to set your own retention policies for specific users and objects.
Yeah, and I think I just answered this one, but I'm going to say it again. Do you have the ability to exclude users that don't need their data backed up? Yes, it is not all or none. You can choose who you want to back up. We do have a fair use policy for unlimited that if you want to back up all of your SharePoint and pieces, you need to have 80% of your users backed up, but you can pick and choose what exactly those users.
There's a question about security standards. I don't know if you want to kind of take it from a high level. I can
Sure.
try to dig into some of the details, but
Sure. Security standards in place for the backups during transit. So all of the way that we pull your backup when you set up your Syncro Cloud backup, what will happen is you'll set up a new enterprise application. You will grant your consent to the exact permissions within that Microsoft tenant so that you can control the access there. And then all of the data is encrypted in transit and then in rest as it when it gets into our Azure cloud. So it's stored within our tenant in like a specific area so that is fully encrypted and secure. And then it uses that authorization, that application that you've granted as consent to do the backup every single time it does the backup. So if at any point there's anything, you can always revoke the consent from that application, or we will continue to keep those permissions small. We kept it as a separate, I know this was kind of a question I think I saw earlier as I was scrolling through. I think someone answered it, but we kept this separate from the initial Microsoft integration because we wanted to keep the permissions as small as we possibly could. As all of you know, with backup, we need to have access to all of those different objects. And so we wanted to try to have separation of concern here to make sure that we could control exactly which part of Syncro was accessing your Microsoft tenant at which time. So this is its own standalone consent that you'll do when you go to enable backup.
yeah, the only thing I would add there is that we're also using Azure Blob Zone Redundant Storage, or ZRS, right? So basically, which maintains what is it? Three synchronized copies of the data across physical separate zones. And that way, in case there's things like power outages, floods, fires, your data is protected across those zones. So, and that's all built into Microsoft. But if you do want to know more, right, can take a look at our terms of service. We can share that link out there. The data processing agreement is in there as well. And then any other probably questions you may have about security, I would think.
There was a question around Acronis. How does this compare to Acronis Cloud to Cloud, or how does this compare to Acronis M365 Backup? The biggest difference, there's a couple of things. One, that this is built fully into the Syncro platform, and the pricing for Acronis is a little bit different. It's not as clear because of the different tiers and it's usage based. There's some unexpected costs on that side. From a full, again, where it's totally integrated, it's built in, but we match all of the functionality, I believe, from an Acronis Cloud to Cloud or an Acronis M365 to what Syncro Backup offers.
And I believe, and I'm not an expert on Acronis, but I'm pretty sure their disaster recovery solution isn't specific around Entry ID. It's about disaster recovery from a larger perspective. So I don't know that they have the same type of Entry ID solution, but I could be wrong.
I think that's right. I'm not an expert on Acronis either. I think it does do some Entra ID backup, but I
Yeah,
don't think
for
to the
the
extent.
DR package, but I don't think it's very broadly focused about real DR, not just this one part of DR.
Yeah, I don't think it does all of the Entra ID backup that Syncro Cloud Backup does. There's a question from Doug around, does the backup have to be M365 email enabled license, or any licensed user be permitted? Any licensed user, I believe any licensed user is permitted. So and again, you can back them up by groups, or you can back them up as specific users.
Someone's asking about future functionality, and I think they're saying full bare bone metal backup. I think they're asking for device backup.
Yeah, that's what that sounds like. So Syncro Cloud Backup does not do device backup today. We are not backing up. We back up M365. So there's no, I know, and then there was another one around local backups. This is all cloud to cloud. So it does M365 um, into Microsoft Azure. And then I did see one around Google. I don't know if that is still in the
Oh,
list.
I didn't see that one.
I'm scrolling. There was a question around, any plans on Google Workspace integration? We would love to hear from you if Google Workspace is a critical piece. I know we have some We hear that from some customers about the importance of Google Workspace. So would love to hear from you as you start to try this out. Google Workspace is on our list, but I'm not sure how high on the list, and you can absolutely influence that with some things you might want and feedback that you would give.
So there's a question from Robert. What does recovery look like? I can only answer that in the sense that we'll be having a webinar soon where you'll be able to see this. And in within a few weeks, you'll be able to do a 14-day trial. So- and if you're a current customer, you can reach out to us and we can see if you're eligible for early access.
The data retention, I think we've covered, but because it came in as a question, I'll just answer it again. It is unlimited for now, unlimited data storage. And we are looking, I think Rich answered this a little bit earlier. We'll look at adding customizable retention in the future, but today it's just set. All right, we did have some questions in the community as well that I just got that I'll make sure I quickly look at. Will there be an additional charge to backup Intune or conditional access policies or groups and other general tenant data as well? No, that is included in the $1.90 per user. The Entra ID backup is included directly there.
And there was a question about Google Workspaces. Uh, what I would say about that is we're looking for feedback and we're investigating those other cloud environments that you need to back up. And then again, someone asked, will we provide cloud backup for PC data? It's not planned at this time, but again, we're looking for feedback. So
Mark is asking about IronScale's pricing. Mark, I do not have that. Feel free to reach out and we can connect you with the right person who does. I don't have that. And I know it's just, I don't have any of that stuff in front of me today. And I think it'll come out as we release that integration. We'll release the pricing there.
Craig's asking about immutable storage. Um, it depends on the definition of what immutable storage means to Craig, I think, because it doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. Is it stored off-site? Yes, it's stored off-site. Outside of that, in terms of immutable storage, I wouldn't say it meets those criteria. If I remember exactly what immutable storage requires. I don't know if you had anything, Kristen.
I am not exactly sure. Craig, why don't you put in maybe some additional, like, yes, the backup when when the backup is created it is immutable. We put it in and then we do incremental backups for any of the pieces that change over time. Want to make sure I understand exactly what you're looking for. From a compliance standpoint, yes, this will meet all of the compliance requirements of any compliance or cybersecurity vendor that you might have that's set up there.
Yeah. There's a question about e-discovery options like Dropsuite. No, there's no current options around e-discovery.
All right, Mike Beck, you asked a question around sending content to tickets via email. We are going to reach out to get some more information from you on that. Would love to hear exactly what you're working on, and we would love to have a use case for that. So, Mike, if you're still here, just know we're going to reach out to get more information on your question.
There's a question about timing for Stripe ACH. I don't know if we can answer that.
I think our hope would be, I think I said this, is early access before the end of the year, but we're still partnering very closely with Stripe on making progress there. But unknown things can come up, especially with integrations with providers like this. And so that's our goal. We'll continue to work that way.
And to get back to that older question about in-place archives, yes, we do support in-place archives as I suspected or remembered.
We have a question on, is there an audit log on who used and what was recovered? Yes, there is a full audit log. Within, you'll see all of the backups that were taken. You'll see any actions that were taken on if someone recovered, exactly what was recovered, where it was restored to, because you can restore it to a the mailbox of where it came from. You can restore it to another user's mailbox. So yes, you will have that full audit there.
Craig did come back. It says immutable storage, meaning it protects data by making it unchangeable and undeletable.
Yes, that is correct. We do that. This fully the backup is fully immutable. There's a question for if I currently use another provider, can I migrate the backups over to not lose the history? This is something we're exploring today. So, Rob, you asked this question specifically around Dropsuite. I would love if you have any specific ideas. Some providers provide more access or easier ways to export some of this data. Others don't. So would love to hear if you have some, we have some thoughts on it, but we're still working through some specifics there. So uh, yeah, let us know if there's some ways that we could partner with you on that because we know the history and the importance of data there is critical. When we do take the first initial backup, it will take the backup of everything that is in the tenant and getting all of the version history. What will be missed is things that were deleted in that time frame. So if users are deleting emails or deleting things from OneDrive or SharePoint, that's where we'd want to make sure we could export things from another provider.
Good question. Another one, can we restore or move email backup from one user to another? Yes, the answer is yes. We can do cross mailbox restore. So Greg asks, are we ever looking into e-discovery options? Again, not at this moment, but open to opportunities.
Mike asked, does your backup store data for GCC or regular e-license? I believe the answer is yes, but I am just double checking on that one to make sure that I believe the answer to that is yes. So just Mike will come back to confirm. All right, it would be really nice to be able to update tax rates without having to create new ones as tax rates change pretty regularly and it can become cumbersome. I know I have Bobby on the call here, and him and I have spent a lot of time talking about tax rates. We definitely have some thoughts or pieces of options on tax rates. I don't know that we have it on the short list, but taxes is something that we hear. And so I'll let Bobby connect on this one and see what we can do on the tax rate side. He just said he has lots of thoughts on tax rates. So would love to hear exactly what you're running into. I know depending on where your customers are, tax rates change frequently.
There was one about backup for GCC and just regular e-license clients. Does your backup store data for GCC? GCC standard or local, or whatever you want to call them, are just commercial tenants. So unless it's GCC high, I don't see any blockers for backing up a GCC tenant.
Yeah, that was my take as well, but I wasn't sure on the.
Yeah, we haven't tested it. So if you have one, you want to test it, happy to bring you in. And then he says, or just regular e-licenses clients. I assume he means enterprise license clients. Yes, we fully support any enterprise license client. There's a question about realistic timelines for Linux and Mac.
Doug, I don't have anything great on like I said, I think with the Linux agent phase one, we're hoping to get something out before the end of the year. For Mac, we have the Mac improvements, I think, on our roadmap. Likely that would fall after the Linux agent work.
Robert asks, is this FedRAMP compliant? I assume he's talking about cloud backup. Right. So FedRAMP, again, it's the same as GCC high. So we're not in those data centers. So we wouldn't be compliant with it. If it's, again, just normal GCC for local governments, we should be able to sort it because they're the same as commercial. They connect the same. There's no barriers behind it or.
Yeah, and when you go, especially around location, which people are looking, which was a question, when you go to back up your tenant, you choose the location. where you want that organization to be backed up. So you can specify that
Yeah,
you want
sorry.
that to be backed up in the US or in Canada, wherever that specific organization. So it's not on your MSP overall, it's on the specific organization that you're backing up.
Yeah, sorry. Didn't understand that question first. Thank you.
Actually, I think, got through all of the questions. So thank you all so much for joining. If anyone has any last minute questions, please pop them in to the chat. Uh, we really appreciate everyone joining the webinar today. Thank you again for all of your feedback, for everything. You help shape our roadmap and make sure that we're working on the right things. And so as you hear and think of things that are most important to you, please continue to reach out. We really appreciate everything that you've done as Syncro partners, and we look forward to all of the growth in the future.
I say.
And we're looking forward to Dee and Andy being back next webinar. Robert, I'll reach out to you around the FedRAMP compliance. Our system itself we have not undergone the entire FedRAMP compliant, but there are a number of things that we might be able to talk through depending on what your compliance requirements are. So Robert, feel free to reach out to me, or I can reach out to you directly. So thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy Wednesday, and thanks for joining.